Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Sidetrack bringing you the next installment in our look at Tinker's Construct, a mod by M.io. Alright, what we're going to do in this video is we're going to talk about Smeltries. Now, I know I said in the last video that the next one is going to be on abilities and or materials and modifiers, but I figured I really need to go over the Smeltery first. So, what you're going to need is, first thing, you're going to need lots of sand, lots of clay, lots of gravel. You're going to put all three of these in your crafting window, and it's going to make grout. You're actually going to get 2 grout every time, which is somewhat helpful. You're going to take that grout, you're going to put it in a furnace, and you're going to cook it and turn it into seared bricks. You're going to need lots of seared bricks. This seared brick is put in your crafting window in a 4, and you get actual seared bricks. These are placeable. You can use them for decoration, but I wouldn't. And at some point when you first make your first couple of smeltery blocks, you will get a copy of Mighty Smelting, just like the other books here that you have read and you will read. It has all kinds of wonderful information. It actually tells you how to make this smeltery. It's a little complicated, so I'm going to actually go over this. Alright, so it's the pieces you need. You need seared bricks in a big square, makes a smeltery controller. Seared bricks, same square, glass in the middle makes you a seared tank. 4 in the corner and a cross of glass makes you seared glass. 3 on either side, glass in the middle, makes you a seared window. Now, to be perfectly honest, I do not know the difference between seared glass and a seared window. Functionally, they seem exactly the same. There's just a textural difference. I'm not sure if that's intended or if there's actually a difference. Somebody please let me know if you know. Next piece we need, seared brick in a V, makes us a seared faucet. You can see they stick anywhere really. Next you'll have seared brick on either side, makes you the smeltery drain, rather important so you can get things out. This is the outward side, this is the inward side. Then we come to seared brick in a cauldron shape, makes you a casting basin. Seared brick the opposite way makes you a casting table. Now the last thing you're going to need is lava. You will need lots of lava, and we'll go over that in a minute. Alright, so once you put all these together, you make this nice multi-block structure. You'll notice that it is 5 by 5. It cannot be any bigger, it cannot be any smaller in the footprint. So we're going to start out. You'll notice I have 3 by 3. Now you don't need to have seared brick underneath this part. You can just go all the way around. Now the rules of the smeltery is you need to have, that's the smallest your smeltery can be. And you have to have 3 by 3 seared brick on the bottom and a mix of seared bricks or seared glass, so I could replace some of these with seared glass. Oops. I am a little stickler for making things look pretty. So seared brick, seared glass, you can put some smeltery drains, you're going to need at least one. And lastly, you need to have, do I have one? Yes I do. A seared tank. And the last piece, I'm going to break this for the moment, you need to have the smeltery controller. Now you will see that this is not lit. If it is not lit, your smeltery is not complete and it will not work. Obviously, it's not complete. So we'll add seared glass and hey look, it lit up. Sometimes it takes a second for it to light. So now you know your smeltery is functional, so you can go ahead and use it. So first thing we need to do is, in order for this to do anything, you have to add lava to the lava tank. In recent changes, you can actually add lava to any tanks, and seared glass counts as a tank. And once this empties, it will go searching for more lava, and it will start draining it from here. Alright, so what we need to do now, we're going to get, let's get some gold. And what you do is you throw the gold in here. Oh look, it actually throws it in there. It's a nice added feature. Lets you know that there is actually something in here. Now be advised, this is not solid. So if you try to walk on it, you will fall in. In here, it's not a big deal. Once it melts, you'll take a tiny bit of damage, but you can just hop out. However, if you did that in here, you are now stuck in your smeltery. And you either have to, put a block down to get out, or if you're like me and creative, you can just fly out. Alright, so you can see this is doing its thing. If I look here, probably should have showed you that. As this cooks, it starts to melt. As it melts, this progress bar goes up. When it gets all the way full, it melts and turns into molten gold. Now, what do you do with this? In order to get the gold out, we have to come over here to these drains. Now you'll notice I forgot to put the faucets on. So you just right click wherever you want the faucets to go. Be careful where you're clicking, because these will go anywhere. They don't really care. They'll sit on top, they'll sit sideways. You want them coming out of the drains. Now, the next step, we actually have to get below these faucets. So if you're just going to make a 1 block high structure, you're going to want to elevate it or drop the floor. And we're going to put a casting table and a casting basin under here. Now, look at the casting basin first. You'll notice the casting basin's shape is a square. Well, logically, what do you think is going to happen if we pour molten metal in a square shape? Well, you will see that it's slowly draining the ingots away. It will take 9 of them out. You remember we had 20 in there. We put an initial 9 ore in and then 1 extra. And you'll see that it doubles the ore, which is quite useful. So it takes 9 out. We have 11 ingots left. And we come back over here and we have a block of gold. Yay. So that's nice. It's a useful way of doubling your the output of your ores. It works on pretty much all, it works on all vanilla ores, and it works on a good number of other things. It'll work on copper, aluminum, anything that's added with this, of course. But some things, like if you have other mods like that add lead or things like that, it won't, at least at this point, last time I checked, work on those. So what are we going to do? You can make your blocks, but what is this casting table? Now, I actually have a casting video that goes into great detail about how to cast tool parts, but for right now, you can right click and put gold in there. You can only use gold and an aluminum, brass, alloy directly on the casting table, and you'll get this blank cast. If you take this blank cast over to our stencil table, you can find you can make an ingot cast. You used to be able to make all kinds of other casts, but you no longer can. Just be aware, it's not broken, it's just changed. And now I can right click, and it will fill up with gold, and I can make a gold ingot, if you only want 1 of them. Alright, so what I want to do very quickly is I'm actually going to break my Smeltery controller. Now if you break the controller, you'll see that there are 9 ingots in here. If you break it, they all disappear. So that's very important to know. Even if I put it back, they don't come back. The lava stays, the molten metal goes. Good to know. Let's see. So I'm going to actually increase the size of this smeltery, because the wonderful thing about the smeltery is you can make it as big as you want. And I want to show you something kind of neat that I just found out. Like I said, I like symmetry. I like things to be fairly consistent, so I'm just increasing the size of this. They can stay down there. Probably should have remembered that I need a smeltery controller and a lava tank. It really doesn't matter where they go, as long as they're on the same level. Okay. Add. Actually, it's a good chance to show you. It's actually taking the fuel from down here. So, we're going to add a couple of seared faucets up here. I'm going to break these just to get them out of the way. And I think this is very neat. We're going to add 2 seared glass below the faucets. Very quickly, I suppose I ought to throw some gold in here. Oh, and you will notice that because the smeltery is larger, you end up with a lot more space to put in your ore. This gold is going to melt. It's going to do its thing. And while it does that, I'm going to pause and then come back. Alright, welcome back. So you can see the gold is melted. I've added a couple things here. Essentially what I've got is the faucets going, and they will drain into this glass window, or seared glass. And, just like before, if you right click on the faucet, it will dump this molten gold right into this seared glass. Now this becomes very useful because this enables you to store your metals outside of your smeltery. So because it will store it outside of the smeltery, I won't get this layered effect down here. You'll see I have this blue is cobalt, the kind of gold color is actually copper, I should say orangey color, and then the gold is gold. So gold is at the bottom, so if I clicked on these faucets, gold is going to come out. I can't get to the copper or the cobalt until I drain all of the gold. It's kind of annoying because then you don't have any more liquid gold, so if for some reason you needed it, you'd have to melt it again. Wastes a bit of lava, takes a bit of time, kind of annoying. Now you will see that this held a lot of gold, and one is not going to be enough. But that's okay because this is going to do what I wanted it to do. So now you can use this to make, your blocks, or you can leave it that way and it will not go anywhere. Just for note, I did my casting video a while ago, it was actually last night, and these are still in liquid form. You don't need to add any lava. This just kind of sits there. A little unrealistic, but I'm not complaining. Alright, so while this fills up, I'm going to very quickly show casting. So I came over here, I made myself a stone hammerhead, if you remember from the video before we did this. And casting, if I wanted to make a cast of a stone hammerhead, I'd right click it on there. I'd right click on the gold to pour gold over top of it. And like I said in my casting video, I prefer using aluminum brass because gold is more valuable to me. And then you'll see I have a hammerhead cast. Now I can put whatever I want in this hammerhead, any of the molten metals. So if I wanted to make gold, oh, doesn't want to make gold. Intriguing. But I could bring it over here. I could make an obsidian hammerhead. I could, you'll see it uses a lot. Oh, that's why. No? Uses a lot of metals to make the hammerheads. If you hover over it, it actually says it takes 8. So it uses 8 ingots per hammerhead. If I wanted to make a cobalt hammerhead, I could. And pretty much whatever. And each of these would have its own attributes. It would make a different tool, and we'll talk a little more about that later. Probably in my next video. I promise this time. So hopefully that helps explain smelteries. You can make these as tall as you want. From what I've heard, I don't think there's an upward limit, although I'm sure if you go insane, yeah. But hopefully that helps. If there are any questions on smelteries, how do you use them, please leave a comment and I will touch on that. Till my next video, this is Sidetrack signing off. Have a good day, guys.